What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So everybody's calling me. Everybody's in my inbox, and they're asking me to give my thoughts on two-time world champion, unified junior middleweight, superstar, world champion, superstar boxer, Jermell Charlo, 34 wins, 1 loss, 1 draw, 18 wins by way of knockout, 31 years of age, 74-inch arm reach. Jermell Charlo will be going into a highly anticipated rematch with WBO junior middleweight world champion, Argentinian star boxer Brian Castano. That's scheduled to take place March 19th of this year. Brian Castano is undefeated, 17 wins, no losses, no draws. Brian Castano, 12 wins by way of knockout, 32 years of age, 5'7.5" with a 67.5-inch arm reach. They will be having a highly anticipated rematch of their initial fight for Undisputed that took place July of 2021, which ended in a draw. With that said, there are people that felt like Brian Castano won the fight. There's people that felt like Jermell Charlo won the fight, and there's people that feel like the draw would suffice. With that said, another fighter has thrown his hat into the ring for a possible fight with the winner, that being undefeated 3-division world champion, former junior welterweight undisputed world champion, currently the WBO reigning welterweight world champion, who is widely considered by many to be the #1 best pound-for-pound fighter in the world, in Terence Crawford, who is 38 wins, no losses, no draws, 29 big wins by way of knockout, 34 years of age, 5'8" with a 74-inch arm reach. With that said, Terence Crawford is coming off the biggest win in his career as he defeated 2-time welterweight world champion superstar boxer Showtime Shawn Porter via 10th round stoppage victory, being the first person to do so as well. So after that, Terence Crawford, he parted ways with longtime promoter, legendary promoter, Top Rank CEO Bob Arum, ESPN and Top Rank. He is now a network promotional free agent. And Terence Crawford, everybody is wondering what's next for Terence Crawford. So obviously the biggest fight in the sport of boxing is Terence Crawford versus his biggest rival, who's the stablemate of Jermell Charlo, and that's undefeated unified WBC IBF welterweight world champion superstar boxer Earl the True Spence Jr., who is widely considered by many to be top 3 best pound-for-pound fighters in the world. Errol Spence Jr. has 27 wins, no losses, no draws, 21 big wins by way of knockout, 31 years of age as well. He stands at 5'9.5" with a 72-inch arm reach. Now, obviously, Errol Spence is going into a highly anticipated unification showdown with World Boxing Association, better known as the WBA, welterweight super champion, Cuban star boxer Yordenis Ugas, who's 27 wins, 4 losses, 1 draw, 12 wins by way of knockout, 35 years of age, 5'9.5" with a 69-inch arm reach. That's look like it's going to be scheduled to take place April 16th in Dallas, Texas at AT&T Dallas Cowboys Stadium. With that said, Errol Spence versus Terence Crawford makes up for the biggest fight in the sport of boxing, and that's the fight everybody's anticipating. But there seems to be a lot of hurdles in making this fight, although Terence Crawford is a network promotional free agent. Now the fight can happen without any issues. There shouldn't be any sides of the street talk. We know that Terence Crawford is possibly signing and doing business with MTK Global as an advisory team. So with that said, Terence Crawford is now taking Top Rank and Bob Arum to court, citing that they breached contracts, they didn't fulfill their obligations in promoting his career and making him a bigger star and forcing him to lose money. So with that said, Terence Crawford's future is somewhat in limbo. What's next for Terence Crawford? Is he going to be on the shelf because of this situation? Is he going to make the fight happen should Errol Spence beat Yordenis Ugas and we get the massive undisputed showdown? Well, Team Crawford, they came out and they stated that he has turned his attention and focus to the junior middleweight division, 154. Now, there's a video that you can see with Terence Crawford and 2-division world champion Puerto Rican superstar boxer Danny Swift Garcia. They had a conversation, they came face to face, and they both were talking and stated that they both want to go up to junior middleweight, 154. So Terence Crawford saying he want to go to 154, Danny Garcia saying he want to go to 154. Then Team Crawford came out yesterday and they stated that Terence Crawford turned his sights to the winner of Jermell Charlo, Brian Castano, which take place again March 19th. He wants the winner, okay? Now, it's easy for Terence Crawford to put himself in position because Terence Crawford is the WBO belt holder, and the way the WBO operates, if you move up in weight, they'll automatically move you to the front of the line. They'll give you first opportunity to regain your title in the next weight class, okay? Terence Crawford has already went this route. He went the route of fighting when he came from junior welterweight up to welterweight, and he was automatically the mandatory challenger for Jeff Horn, who had beat legendary 8 division world champion, iconic Filipino superstar boxer, Manny Pac-Man Pacquiao. That's how Terence Crawford picked up his WBO title. And so he's planning on going this route once again when he move up to 154, making himself the mandatory. Now, what's ironic is Brian Castano, he already has a mandatory, which he pays step aside money, I believe, or the WBO just allowed this fight to come to fruition because initially they seemed like they were going to order Brian Castano to face off against Tszyu, okay, the son of legendary Hall of Famer Tszyu, okay? Tszyu is the son of Tszyu, and Tszyu holds the belt, is the mandatory challenger for Brian Castano, and looked like that was going to be the route that he was going to have to go, face off against Tszyu. But it came to a point where Tszyu, is not fighting Brian Castano. Obviously, Tszyu is 20 wins, no loss, no draws, 15 wins by way of knockout. 27 years of age, 5'8.5" with a 72-inch arm. So he's not the biggest guy in the world. He last fought November 17th of 2021. He got a unanimous decision against Tszyu Nui, okay? So with that said, Tszyu is from South Australia, South Wales, or Australia. So he's from what they consider the down under, okay? But he's a British fighter, okay? So with that said, Tszyu is the WBO mandatory challenger. He holds the WBO global super title. He fought for the WBO interim belt. So he holds the belt and he is the mandatory for the WBO. Now, Tszyu obviously is going to look for his opportunity to face off against the winner, because the winner of this fight this time would be undisputed. The last time these two met in the ring, Brian Castano, Jermell Charlo, it ended in a draw. Okay, so with that said, Tszyu could possibly be a next opponent for Terence Crawford. Maybe the WBO goes that route. I don't know if the WBO will allow Tszyu, to be leapfrogged by Terence Crawford, when he was the mandatory challenger already. So maybe they'll have a title eliminator between Terence Crawford and Tszyu. That would be a huge fight for Terence Crawford. Like I said, Tszyu is not the biggest guy in the world, 5'8" with a 72-inch arm reach. He's actually the same height as Terence Crawford, and Terence Crawford actually has a 2-inch arm reach advantage over Tszyu. So that would be a good fight. Tszyu is a very slick, a very awkward, unorthodox type of fighter, just like his dad. He's a pressure fighter at times, but he's a 154-pounder. He has power, 15 knockouts in 20 fights, no losses, no draws. He's 27 years of age. Terence Crawford is, 34 years of age. So it makes sense. You know what I mean? Terence Crawford may fight against Tszyu. But with that said, Jermell Charlo reportedly responded to, Terence Crawford call out once again, and his plans to move up and make himself the mandatory for Jermell Charlo. And Jermell Charlo, he essentially said, leave me alone, okay? Go face off against somebody else and earn your keep here at junior middleweight. Now, what I found is that that's all old, okay? That interview that Jermell Charlo did, it was old, okay? That was an interview Jermell Charlo did a few months back when he was asked about Terence Crawford's comments about, coming to 154 and making himself the mandatory at that point in time. So this is nothing new. Terence Crawford has stated this before, but it seems like now that he's a network promotional free agent and, he's looking, we don't know what his next move is. There was talks of him possibly facing off against what at one point was his number one objective opponent and former unified welterweight world champion superstar boxer Keith one-time Thurman, who is now 29 wins, 1 loss, no draws, 22 big wins by way of knockout. Keith Thurman is 33 years of age, 5'7" with a 69-inch arm reach, and Keith Thurman is making his ring return after a 2-month hiatus, being out the ring since he lost to legendary fighter Manny Pacquiao July 2019. He'll be facing off against Mario Barrios February 5th, okay? So with that said, you know, Keith Thurman will be making his ring return after 2.5-year layoff. And Terence Crawford was linked to Keith Thurman in July. But Keith Thurman stated that his fight now with Mario Barrios is a fight for a title eliminated for the WBC title, which the WBC came out and stated that they were not going to make him the mandatory for the winner, Errol Spence and Dana Suga. So that fight should still be on the table for Keith Thurman as well. But nonetheless, Terence Crawford is weighing out his options, and according to Team Crawford, they turned their attention to Jermell Charlo, Castano winner. So Jermell Charlo is saying, you know, leave me alone. Focus on the fights that you have available to you, okay? And so now it look like Terence Crawford, if he wants to make himself the mandatory, he may have to go through Tszyu at junior middleweight before he gets the mandatory. And it looks like Jermell Charlo could possibly be moving out the division soon as well, okay? Now, Errol Spence, Terence Crawford is the biggest fight. And if Errol Spence already stated that if he can't get the fight with Terence Crawford right now, he's going to move up to junior middleweight. So we may get Terence Crawford versus Errol Spence Jr. at 154. And if that's the case, Errol Spence move up. Expect to see Jermell Charlo move up to 160 because they will not overlap each other in the same division. It seems though they both trained by well-renowned trainer, Hall of Fame, future Hall of Fame trainer, and trainer of the year in Derrick James and their stablemates. They're not going to overlap or never fight each other. So let's see how this unfolds and plays out. But Jermell Charlo tells Terence Crawford to leave him alone, focus on the fights that's around you, prove yourself if you want to fight me, then we can make some money in the future. But that's all I got for y'all. Make sure you hit the like button, drop a comment in the comment section, let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue, Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to New Media. Shout out to Black Media Raw. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.
Oh, it is your boy Jada Kiss. Make sure you check out Blue Blood Sports TV. It's going down.